Hello everyone. Today, part 4 of chapter Matter and Our Surroundings for class 9th. In this lecture, we will discuss about evaporation versus boiling, application of evaporation, and some questions from board and other competitive exams. So, evaporation is the process where some of the liquid becomes a gas at temperature below the boiling point. In other words, you can say that its molecule escape or liquid molecules escape the body of the liquid and move freely away as a gas. This can be cleared from this diagram. This is sun. Sunlight is providing heat energy to the surface of the ocean. So ocean surface get warm if temperature is increasing. You all know that kinetic energy increases and some of the water molecules escapes in the form of vapor. In evaporation, there is a conversion of liquid to gas but below the boiling point. Boiling versus evaporation. So in both boiling and evaporation, there is a conversion from liquid to gas, but few differences are there. In case of boiling, boiling always occurs at a fixed point or fixed temperature, which is known as boiling point. But in the case of evaporation, it can occur at any temperature. We have all observed that in the case of boiling, the bubbles are formed as a result in the liquid, but in case of evaporation, there is no formation of bubbles. Boiling takes place throughout the liquid, but evaporation is a surface phenomena, that is only surface molecules escape out. Temperature remain constant in this process, but in case of evaporation, the temperature of a liquid body decreases when evaporation takes place. Or you can say that evaporation causes a cooling effect. We will discuss this phenomena of evaporation in this lecture also. It is a quick process, but evaporation is a very slow process. To initialize the process, a heat energy source is supplied to the liquid for boiling, but in the case of evaporation, only sunlight or surrounding temperature heat is the major source or required for the initialization of the process. Cooling effect of evaporation. This is very important topic. Now in this diagram you can say this is the liquid surface. Now each and every particle of this particular liquid is having its own kinetic energy. If sunlight is falling on the top surface gets warm and kinetic energy of these particles will increase. So some of the kinetic energy of the particle increase that much high that they escape out and converts into gas. So this is evaporation. When they escape out, new layer of the particle will have little bit of lower temperature. Suppose this layer has a temperature of around 33 degrees Celsius. It escape out and the lower layer temperature is having 31. Now the top layer is having the temperature of 31 and in the same manner the temperature of the liquid decreases and hence evaporation gives you a cooling effect. Now how you will write in exam? The temperature of a liquid is proportional to the average kinetic energy of its molecule. More the temperature, more will be the kinetic energy. If molecules that had highest kinetic energy were able to escape the liquid through evaporation, that would mean that the kinetic energy of the remaining molecule will be less than before. Lesser the kinetic energy means lesser the temperature, and thus means temperature of a liquid would now be less than before, and hence we can say that evaporation causes a cooling effect. Why evaporation continues? If temperature of a liquid goes down with evaporation, won't there be a point where energy of the remaining molecule is too low to escape? If that is the case, how can a pan of a water will completely evaporate? Now look at this figure. We are all familiar with this earthen pot filled with water. Most of this water will evaporate. We all know that evaporation causes a cooling effect and hence there be a point when that these particles do not have that much amount of kinetic energy to escape. But we know that after some time at the end of the day, this water is dried. There is no water in the earthen pot. The answer is that although the temperature of a liquid goes down because of the cooling effect of evaporation, the surrounding air and the container are still at room temperature. They heat up the liquid back to the room temperature, which then creates higher energy molecule, and so the process continues. So evaporation is a continuous process. The liquid gets the heat or the latent heat of vaporization from the surrounding earthen pot or from the sunlight. Now factors affecting evaporation. Concentration of a substance evaporating in the air. In case of water, we can take it as a humidity. If air is already has high concentration of substance evaporating, then the given substance will evaporate more slowly. You can take it example like that. If you are done with your dinner and somebody asks you to again eat something, then you will not be able to eat as much as you can because your stomach is already full. In the same way, if the air above is filled with water vapors, that is very high humidity, then the process of evaporation will be slow because air do not able to carry the water molecules. Humidity is inversely proportional to evaporation. More the humidity, lesser will be the evaporation, and that's why it is very difficult to dry clothes in rainy season because in case of rainy season we have high amount of humidity in the air. Now surface area. Larger the surface area, more will be the evaporation. That is, surface area is directly proportional to evaporation. You can clearly see this much amount of particles will evaporate. Now surface area is increased. More number of particles are attached to the sunlight, so they will evaporate very easily. Flow rate of air, or you can say wind speed. If fresh air is moving over a substance all the time, then the concentration of the substance in the air is less likely to go up with the time, and thus encouraging faster evaporation. So wind speed is directly proportional to evaporation. Suppose this is a pot filled with water. Water is evaporating and is collected in that air. Now air is not moving. So what will happen? The concentration of water vapor increases only on this area. Now, if wind speed is more, it will carry out these water molecules to some other place, and a fresh wind with less water molecule is there. So the evaporation increases. So wind speed is directly proportional to evaporation. Temperature of a substance. If substance is hotter, then its molecule have high average kinetic energy and evaporation will be faster. Temperature is directly proportional to evaporation. So four factors which are responsible for evaporation are humidity, inversely proportional to evaporation; wind speed, directly proportional to evaporation; temperature, directly proportional to evaporation; and surface area, directly proportional to evaporation. Now, applications of evaporation. During hot summer days, water is usually kept in earthen pot known as pitcher or matka to keep it cool. Explanation. The earthen pot has a large number of extremely small pores or holes in its wall. Some of the water continuously keeps seeping through these pores to outside of the pot. This water evaporates because it changes into vapor continuously and takes the latent heat required for vaporization from the earthen pot and the remaining water. Evaporation causes a cooling effect, and in this way the remaining water loses heat and gets cooled. When the clothes are hung on a laundry line, even though the ambient temperature is below the boiling point of water, water evaporates. This is because of the factors like low humidity, heat from the sun, and the wind. You can clearly see if there is more wind, more sun, then your clothes will evaporate or get dried very easily because evaporation is faster in the case of low humidity, heat, and more amount of wind. In case of cloth dryer, hot air is blown through clothes, allowing water to evaporate very rapidly. Hot air is blown, again wind speed is more, directly proportional to evaporation, and hot means more temperature means more the evaporation. This equipment will give some hot air, and hot air rises from this and dries each and every cloth. Respiration or sweating is our body's method of maintaining a constant temperature. We all sweat when we used to walk very fast or we are playing or in summer days we usually sweat. So this sweating is a natural method of our body to keep check on the body temperature or to lower down the body temperature. On a hot day after going some physical work or exercise, when our body temperature tends to rise too much, our sweat glands give out moisture or sweat on the skin. Now, when this sweat evaporates, it takes the latent heat of vaporization from our body and hence it keeps our body cool. It's a very common observation that we are able to sip a hot tea or milk faster from a saucer than from a cup. Now look at this picture. If you drink this from the cup, you will feel a hot. You will not able to sip it very easily. But if you drink this tea from a saucer pan, you will easily sip it. This is because of the surface area. More the surface area, more will be the evaporation, and more evaporation means cooling effect. So saucer has a large surface area. Due to large surface area, the evaporation of a hot tea or milk from saucer is faster, and this faster evaporation cools the hot tea or milk more quickly, making it convenient for us to drink. These points are very important. Sometimes direct questions will be asked in your examination based on these observations and these points. Pause the video, write down each and everything on your notes for better preparation. Next application is, we all know that many times, especially in villages, people often sprinkle water on the ground or roof in front of their homes during hot summer evening. You can clearly see in this picture, a man is sprinkling some water on its roof. If you are sprinkling water on the roof, this water evaporates by taking the latent heat of vaporization from the ground and the surrounding from the floor and the surrounding air. By losing the heat, the place becomes cool and it will be comfortable. Evaporative coolers, which are significantly cool a building by simply blowing dry air over a filter saturated with water. This is a evaporative cooler. Hot air is blown from outside. Water tank is attached with a pump and this pump is supplying some water on a cooling pad. Now on this cooling pad, hot air passes this, loses all its energy to the water. Water get evaporates and cools the hot air and hence we get a cool fresh air from the cooler. Now it's a question time. Why does a desert cooler cool better on a hot dry day? On a hot dry day means less humidity. Less humidity means more will be the evaporation. Hot day, more temperature, more will be the evaporation. So in both the cases, rate of evaporation is faster. As rate of evaporation is faster, it means more will be the cooling effect. So we can say that desert cooler cool better on a hot dry day because of more evaporation, and more evaporation causes more cooling effect. Question number second, why are we able to sip hot tea or milk faster from a saucer pan from a cup? This is because of surface area of saucer is more, which causes more the evaporation, more will be the cooling effect. So it will be easy to drink tea or sip hot tea from a saucer. Question number third, why does our palm feels cold when we put some acetone or perfume on it? When we put some acetone or perfume on our palm, this acetone perfume gathers or takes the latent heat of vaporization from our body and hence evaporation takes place and which gives you a cooling effect. Fourth question, if the back of your hand is moistened with alcohol, you will find that it rapidly becomes dry. Why it is that while if it is drying, your hand feels cool? Same case, question number 3 and 4 are same, only language has been changed. Now some questions for homework. Do these 5 questions in your copy for homework. How does perspiration or sweating help keep our body cool on a hot day? How will you demonstrate that water vapor is present in the air? I'm giving you a hint. Just take out some ice cream or ice from your freezer and put it in a glass and you will be able to see some water vapors on a glass surface. Define the term latent heat of fusion. This we have discussed in the previous lecture. How much is the latent heat of fusion of ice? What is evaporation? State the various factors with what is evaporation? State the various factors which affect evaporation. We have discussed this in this lecture. Why does evaporation cool a liquid? You can easily answer all these questions. We have discussed some questions in this lecture and some in the previous lecture. You can read out or you can just go through these previous lectures also. Okay, now MCQ question time. Which of the following set of phenomena would increase on rising the temperature? So these all are the 4 points. You have to do this also as your homework. Second question, The evaporation of water increases under the following condition: increase in temperature, decrease in surface area. Increase in temperature is okay, but decrease in surface area is not good. Increase in surface area, decrease in temperature. Again, decrease in temperature will not increase evaporation. Increase in surface area, rise in temperature. This is good option. Increase in temperature, increase in surface area, addition of common salt. So, addition of common salt, it won't help. Point number C, increase in surface area and rise in temperature will be your answer. Next question. During summer days, water kept in earthen pot pitcher become cool because of the phenomena of diffusion, transpiration, osmosis or evaporation. We all know that this is because of the evaporation which causes a cooling effect. This transpiration is also a same process like that of the evaporation, but it takes place in the case of water, in the case of plants. Diffusion, we all know that this is the transportation of liquid or gas from one place to other place, and osmosis is again a transportation of particles from one to other place, but through a semi-permeable membrane. So the answer will be this evaporation. Just try to do these questions. The best way to learn, pause this, just try to tick mark your answer and then watch out the explanation. That's all for today's class. We'll see you in the next lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss some questions from the NCERT and the other board competitive exam. If you have any doubt in this lecture, you can WhatsApp on this number and you can also call on this number. That's all for today. Subscribe, comment, share, and like.